Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Kollin at crackthefemalecode.com. It's time to take back your power in dating, relationships, and life. In the last video, the one right before this one, last night, the thumbnail for that was "Your power was stolen." At a very young age, our society, our parents essentially take away your assertiveness by getting you not to say no. Now this is going to be just a quick mini follow-up to the last video. Now I've studied a lot of psychology. I've read a lot of human behavior books, psychology books. I studied psychology in college. I've read literally, I'm not joking, I've read well over 300 books on human behavior psychology, NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy, and on communication linguistics, and on, like a lot of subjects that are all around human behavior influence. And my main focus is how to get a woman to fall in love with you, how to stimulate her mating system, and what is the secret to triggering her mating system. Now, if you've noticed on YouTube, there's a lot of videos talking about, oh well, make sure you don't let a woman manipulate you, and they're always playing games, and make sure she's testing you, and don't fail the test. Here's essentially what's going on. When you were a little kid, at the age of 2, you learned to say no. Okay, when you were a little kid, you had a very small vocabulary. Now I'm talking about 12 months old up to about 15 months and 18 months. Okay, you learn to say mama and dada, I don't know, around 5 months or 8 months or whatever. Again, it depends on the kid too. Some kids learn it, they don't learn it until later. So one of the next words that starts to come up is the word no. By the way, the music will go down in about 20 seconds. So when a kid is first born, its eyes can only see about 8 inches to about 12 inches, okay? And this is designed so the baby can bond with the mother while breastfeeding. Now, as the kid goes past 12 months old, now we're talking 15 plus months. Actually, let me back up. So before that, okay. So the child can only see a certain distance, and it's to be able to look in the mother's eyes when it's bonding, when it's breastfeeding is what it does. So at this stage in life, when it's born to about, it's different for every kid, say 12 months, 13, 14, 15, 18 months approximately. I don't remember the exact scientific number. So here's the deal. When you're first born, you think that everyone in the room is you. So let's say your mother's holding you, and her arm that's about 2 or 3 feet away, she lifts it up or waves at someone. The child thinks that's its arm. And then the father walks in on the left side, and he's about 5 feet away or 4 feet away or even 6 feet away. The child thinks that, well, that's me. And the dog walks in, the child thinks, well, that's me too. It doesn't have the ability visually or psychologically to make a distinction between you and me. At an early age, the child literally believes, like, this is all who I am. It's not like that's a dog and I'm me. You're you and I'm me. It doesn't have that distinction. It's not physically possible. And this could be where the concept of oneness comes from, because at a very early age, the child just thinks all is one, all is me. But then what happens as it gets older, it starts to go, whoa, wait a minute. You're you and I'm me. Oh, there's a separation. There's a distinction. Now there's a piece I didn't put in the last video, and that's why it's important. I'm going to put it real quick in here. So what happens is a child learns the word mama and then dada, I'm assuming before 12 months or around 12 months or just after. And that's about all it has, and it's giggles and yells and screams and demands and makes noises and stuff. And then what happens is eventually it makes a distinction, like, wait a minute, you're not me. You're not my arm. That's you. And that's your arm. Oh, we're separate. Oh, we're not the same being. Oh, okay. And then it starts to realize, holy shit, this is me and you're you. And it gets really excited. Now, what ends up happening is it's trying to express itself. Now, for kids, it's really frustrating because they really have a very short vocabulary. They're trying to express it, so they do it in yelling and screaming and giggling and laughing, and that's how they express themselves. So what happens is one day, somewhere around 2, they learn the most magical word of all. And that word is no. Now, here's the deal. It's a rough word when it comes to expressing I'm me and you're you, but it works. Now, here's why. And I'm going to say because all of a sudden this kid gets to assert keyword, and this is what the last video about, and this is about taking back your power. Because literally at the age of 2 years old, your parents were already shutting down your power because they were trying to control you. Like, hey, take a bath, let's get going. You're like, no. Like, come on, eat your food. You got to go to bed. It's getting late. No. Now, the kid's not trying to be an ass. He's not trying to make you late. He's not trying to make you stay up all night. But the word no is, it's an assertiveness. It's essentially saying, I'm me and you are you. This is why kids, when you offer them ice cream and candy, I remember my friend's kid. My friend's wife was trying to give the son some ice cream, and I know this kid loves ice cream. Now this kid was about 2.5 years old. Like, no. And I remember I was like, well, that's weird. So he's not actually mad. And the mom goes, no, he's just going through this phase where he says no a lot. And I go, but doesn't he like ice cream? She goes, oh, he loves ice cream. So why is he saying no? And she goes, well, yeah, that's kind of the thing. He's just trying to say no because he's learned a new word. Well, what it really is, it's a celebratory word. It literally is a celebration of I'm me and you're you. It really has nothing to do with the word no. It's just that it's the only word that has any level of expression of separation. And an expression of separation means I'm me and you're you. And this realization is in a sense, it's its first experience of being independent. And that's power. And that feels good. Power was always meant to feel good. So the kind of power I'm talking about is power over yourself, power over your own life, power over making your own decisions, power to think for yourself, power to do what you want to do with your life. That's the kind of power I'm talking about. So it's called your own power or self-power. The bad power is power over people, controlling people, limiting people. And that's an illusion. That's actually not power. That's just a wasteful time. It's a battle that never ends. It drags you out. It drains your energy. It's exhausting. So I don't want to go too far into this because I want to pull back to what this is really about. This is about you gaining back your own power. So at a young age, essentially your parents asserted their power over you. When you were a little kid, they just picked you up and grabbed you and put you in the car. But when you got a little bit older, you got a little bit heavier, you got a little bit stronger, you could run faster. Suddenly at 2.5 years old, you could just take off. So then it became more about a verbal psychological manipulation game to get you to do what they wanted you to do. And then what they did was they connected guilt, shame, and other negative emotions to you asserting yourself and your own power. And so now you connect shame and you're a bad kid, you're a bad boy or a bad girl. And so now you're starting to feel bad about yourself. So, like I said in the last video, about the book When I Say No, I Feel Guilty by Manuel J. Smith, there's a breakthrough discovery that now here's the thing, he put it in the book and he didn't quite realize the power that he was expressing. He did not understand the power of seduction by this one simple thing. So I'm going to reread something. This is on page 15. So the control your parents exerted over you changed from physical to psychological, which I mentioned earlier. As soon as you could learn to speak, the word that rolled from your tongue most assertively, keyword assertively, was an emphatic no. Now this is a good, healthy thing. Let your kids say no when he's young. You would even give up a favorite treat, sometimes to be able to say no, like ice cream or whatever. While this obstinacy may have driven mom up the wall, it was only an extension of your innate assertiveness into the verbal sphere. To psychologically control your behavior while you were learning and exploring this fascinating verbal ability, as soon as you could understand what your parents told you, you were trained to feel anxious, ignorant, and guilty. In other words, they shamed you and they put fear in you when you tried to say no or assert yourself. So here's the deal. A kid that was raised in a healthy manner is allowed, like I remember some of my friends' fathers saying to the mother, now I don't mean when I was a little kid, but when I was probably 12 or 15 or even 18, and they would say no, let him say no, it's okay, like he's expressing himself, or now sometimes these fathers, it was an innate kind of wisdom, we'll call it that. So some kids, some boys, for some reason, are allowed to say no. They're allowed to assert themselves. They're allowed to hold their own boundary. And this is the stage where you begin to develop healthy boundaries. But most Western children are not allowed. Your assertiveness is crushed at a young age. Now watch this. So we know on YouTube there's an explosion of videos of saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. When you do this, it's going to make her run away. When you do that, she's going to fall out of love. She's not going to have respect for you. It's all this logical, external bullshit. If you're in your logical brain, you're not in your assertiveness brain. Your right brain is the power brain. It is the social power. And it is when you say no from your right brain, people can feel it. When you say no, logically, people can't feel it. It's just like I'm just going to say it, you're being a little bitch, and people don't respect that. Energetically, people can feel the power of your no when you're coming from your right brain, because it's coming from your body, not your forehead, which is very little power. So if someone says no versus no, do you feel the difference? The volume was the same. I didn't scream, no, I didn't, it's just different. It's like, no, it's assertive. Now here's the deal. Cavemen, essentially, they just took off and did what they wanted. When they were 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, they just walked around, and it wasn't restrictive. We didn't have buildings. We didn't have homes. We didn't have cribs. We didn't have all this restriction. There was no police. There was no teachers. You weren't put in a classroom from preschool and kindergarten all the way through 12th grade and possibly college, where someone is constantly crushing your assertiveness. Now, when you were a little kid, you were literally told, do as you're told, follow the rules. You have no sense of self. You have no sense of independence. You're doing what you're told. So the caveman, essentially, if he didn't want to do something, he just like, no. Or he just walk away. Like he didn't feel guilty is what I'm saying. He didn't feel shame. He didn't feel like, oh, I'm being a bad boy. I'm doing something wrong. When a caveman said no, he said no, and it meant no, and that's it. Now think of the modern male. Are you really going to do well in business, in society, if you don't have boundaries, if you can't assert yourself? See, asserting yourself isn't flipping out, yelling and screaming. Healthy asserting yourself, you can just say, no, I'm not going to do that, in a very calm kind of way. It actually has more impact versus getting all panicking up in your head. Now here's the deal. Women, for the most part, when they test you, they're not logically or consciously doing it. A lot of women don't even know they're doing it. So, okay, I was dating a woman who was in her 40s. And we had known each other for years. We'd gone out about once a week for 6, 7, 8 years. We're at a restaurant, and she literally tests me. And I looked at her, I'm like, really? I go, you're 40-some years old. You're still doing that? And she goes, wow. I didn't realize I just did that. She goes, Michael, honestly, half the time I don't even know I'm doing it. She goes, I just do it. Now here's the deal. It is so instinctual. It's literally hardwired into her mating system. Is that when you essentially say no, it doesn't even have to be verbal. Sometimes you just look at her like whatever, or you just walk away, or you change the subject. When you have this sense of self, like a caveman, and that's why I show the caveman image, because if you could look at that caveman, do you really think he gives a shit? I am telling you, this guy would wake up hungry, oh, I'm hungry, or I gotta take a shit, and he would just go take a shit. He didn't even notice if the cave girl was there or not. He doesn't care. He gets up, I gotta go take a shit. Now, I'm hungry. There's food. And he'd go running across the tundra, and he'd go get the food. I mean, He just did what he wanted, when he wanted, and how he wanted. And that's what women mean when they're saying just be yourself. Be in the present moment. The minute you start thinking, what's the right thing to say, you just look like a total bitch. Sorry, I don't have a better word for that, so I'm just using these words because otherwise these videos they're already too long. I'm trying to cut them down, okay? So I'm trying to get the message across faster is what I'm saying. So here's the deal. It's not even like a logical test. She's just like, asking for things and this and this and that. And if you're a pushover, her mating system goes, yeah, this guy doesn't stand up for himself. He's not going to do very well in life. And even in the modern era, that's just true, as much true now as it ever was. Now here's the deal. A lot of you guys think you got to be a boxer, a kickboxer, a fighter. Now I did it all. Boxing, kickboxing, wrestling. I wrestled at a Division II school, Chico State. They were 5-time national champions. I went to the state championships in high school. I was a captain of the section championship football team. I was a state champion in boxing. I was a national champion in kickboxing, and on and on. And I tell you what, socially, I had zero power. And that's what turns women off. It's not about physical power. It's about social power. And that literally triggers her mating system. Now let me read the one paragraph again from his book, and I'll come back to this social power in her mating system. So he goes on to talking about, let's back up. So most of our conflicts and problems come from other people. And in dealing with other people, our primitive responses are insignificant in comparison with our uniquely human coping ability. Key phrase, coping ability. In comparison with our uniquely human, coping ability of verbal, assertive problem solving. So what he's saying is our higher human brain, the right brain, is the problem solving brain. But most men, the modern men, you're stuck in your left brain. You are not in your options and possibility brain, which solves problems, which is the right brain. So anger, fear, and fight or flight, however, actually interferes with the verbal coping abilities. And that's what her mating system is looking for. Can he stay open to his right brain? Well, as I told you, 90% of the men on the planet are not in their right brain. They're locked down in their left brain. So when you become angry and afraid, your primitive lower brain centers... When you become angry and afraid, your primitive lower brain centers shut down much of the operation of your new human brain. Here's how it does it. It controls that artery. It narrows the artery, and what he goes on to say is the blood supply is automatically rerouted away from the brain and gut, and then it's sent to your skeletal muscles to prepare them for physical action, for fight or flight. Now, what that means is you don't have the verbal coping ability of your right brain's communication center, and thus it turns her mating system off. What it does is it makes her body feel emotions of, oh shit, he's not strong enough to take care of me. Now you're thinking, well, I thought you said it wasn't about fighting. It's not. It's verbal power. It's social power. You don't have the emotional fortitude to verbally stand up for yourself. That's what they're looking for. In my course, Crack the Female Code, we answer this problem. In fact, I am the master of this. No one's even talked about this. Tony Robbins doesn't even talk about this. Number one, I am going to teach you actual verbal skills that will dilute and neutralize anybody trying to challenge you or argue or do all these things to you. The second thing we're going to do, I'm going to give you actual techniques. One of them is called the agreement frame. I'm going to walk you through it and show you how to do it. And you're like, holy shit. You're literally going to shut people down, and they're going to make themselves look like an idiot if they keep trying to attack you, because you just keep doing this technique. They're like, oh shit. So there's a series of things I'm going to teach you to do. There's a very specific technique in the course that I teach you. Number two, more importantly, I'm going to teach you these internal awareness techniques, these emotional grounding techniques. Well, what does that mean? It means it keeps you emotionally grounded and calm, which means that artery stays open, and thus the blood, which carries the fuel of oxygen and glycogen up to your human brain, and it's essentially like gasoline to a car. So now you have plenty of fuel to function on a higher left and, keyword, right brain function. So as the book said, most of your problems come from other humans, and when you're open to your right brain, you're functioning on a higher coping ability. His exact words, on a higher human coping ability of verbal assertive problem solving. I remember in high school, you would always hear girls say, don't fight, don't fight. And as men, we thought, yeah, that's how I'm going to get the girl. But I never did. It never worked. I remember our parents and even girls and sometimes guys would say, yeah, that just shows that you're weak, that you're afraid. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It means I'm strong. No, I'm telling you, girls look at you like you're literally showing her that you're a very stupid person. The female mating system is connected to the right brain on purpose, because if a man is in his right brain, that means he's learning and open to developing social skills, and he has an awareness of automatic social skills by simply being in the right brain, because the right brain is the social brain. It's the higher coping brain. When you are in this brain and you can deal with problems on this level, suddenly people don't yell, they don't scream. And if they do, you can work things out with them. That's what her mating system is looking for. She can't have her husband while she's got a 6-month-old baby getting and drag out, head stomping fights. He's got to be able to function in society. And I'm telling you what, like, this guy is a tough guy. He's a great jiu-jitsu guy. But if he did that in public on the street because he had a disagreement, he'd get thrown in jail like that. In the olden days, you can go back to 1940, 1800, 1500, 1200, 1000, 500 BC. You would not only get thrown in jail, you could possibly get killed for fighting people. And if they didn't do that, they would just kick you out of the tribe. They just wouldn't deal with you. Now, whether you like it or not, whether you understand it or not, what I'm trying to say is her mating system gets triggered by a male who's in the system. So if you have the ability to say no to her in a comfortable way, her mating system falls in love with you. She wants to make love to you. She wants to cook. She wants to clean. It makes her feel safe and it makes her feel content. And it literally opens up that artery, which opens up to her right brain, which technically opens her up to her heart, because the right brain is the emotional heart processor. So she's literally going to feel warmth pour into her heart, and she's going to fall in love with you. Now, a lot of guys get really pissed off when they hear that women test you. Like, well, who the hell do they think they are? And I went through a phase where, like, why do women think what are you, my teacher? You're not my teacher. So here's the thing. You don't understand it, so it upsets you. But when you do understand it, all of a sudden, the game changes. Now, I'm going to give you a little tidbit right now, but when you come in and take the course, Cracked Female Code, I walk you through this. We condition this into you on how to see it and how to deal with it effectively. So I was at the mall with my goddaughter. I think she was 17 or 18, maybe 19. I think she was still in high school, so I think she was probably 17 or 18. So we're at the mall. We were going there to get something, and I think it was for her, actually, if I remember right. And we're going on the right side of the mall, walking down, and the store that we were going to is about 5 stores ahead of us and to the right. Well, she was on my left, but then she kind of went behind me, got on my right. She started leaning on my shoulder, and at first I thought, oh, that's sweet, And she kind of leaned a little more, and we were kind of slightly veering off, and then I just stopped and let her fall in front of me, and I went behind her and went on the right of her, and I started going to the right. And then I'm like, wow, what a weird little kid, And then she did it again. And I just kind of looked at her and I stopped and I grabbed her and pushed her to my left and started walking to the store again. And then she went behind me on my right. She leaned against me like, oh, she's trying to see if she can take me off path, which is what women will do. Now, why do women try to knock you off path when it comes to your goals and if you start a business or anything, even being a champion fighter? They're trying to get you not to go jogging in the morning, not to show up to work out, or maybe even try to get you to quit. Because in her mind, if I can get you to quit your dream, if I can get you to veer off path, little old me, how in the fuck are you going to survive out there in the real world with big men like this who are fucking strong? If you can't say no to her, how the hell are you going to say no to people trying to take advantage of you in the real world? You're not going to be a good provider. And that, my friends, is why women test you. It's not a conscious thing. It's a reptilian, unconscious process. All they know is I either feel really good with this guy or I don't feel very good with him, so I'm going to look for someone else I feel good with. Because it's an emotional experience they have. It's not logical. So there I was with John Wick walking through the mall with my goddaughter. No, I'm just kidding. So what happened was my goddaughter got on my right side. I think this was the third time, and she leaned on me, and I knew it. I figured out what she was doing. She was trying to veer me off track and see if I'd catch her. And I looked at her. I reached my right arm around her, grabbed her shoulder, and I pulled her in really firmly. And then I pointed with my left hand. We're going that way. She literally giggled and laughed, and then she relaxed. Her mating system was testing me to see if I was aware of being manipulated. And when I called her on her shit, meaning manipulation, it actually made her happy, and she emotionally and physically relaxed. She giggled and laughed, and she took a deep breath. And from that day on, she just followed me everywhere we went with no challenges. So what is her little cave girl mating system looking for? She just wants to feel content, and she wants to feel safe so she can relax. She wants to make sure that you're aware of what's going on and that you stay on path. That's the answer right there. Write that down. Commit that to memory, because that simplifies everything. Guess where you get awareness from? Yep, the right brain. If she can see that you're in that linear foveal view, when your pupils are small and your muscles tighten up, she's automatically turned off. Like, that makes her go, this guy has no awareness of what's going on around him. This course, Crack the Female Code, absolutely will change your entire life. It's going to open you up to your power. You're going to finally understand exactly what women mean when they're looking for a guy who thinks for himself, leads himself, and steps into his power. It's time for you to take back your power and live your life to the fullest and get the most out of life. That's what my Kollin's about, and that's what the course Crack the Female Code is about. I will challenge you in this course. I will prepare you. You will get stronger, you will get smarter, and you'll get much more aware, and you will start winning at life. To summarize this entire video, the entire purpose of this video is to say that it is hardwired into her cave girl brain from the caveman era for a caveman to say no and do it in a natural, comfortable, assertive way. And that will trigger her mating system. That was the purpose of this video. It's an old caveman DNA system that is literally hardwired into her mating system. Alright guys, thank you for listening. I really appreciate that. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something from this video, please do me a couple things. Number one, click the subscribe button. Number two, click the like button. If you want, make a comment. And to financially support this channel, I really think it's fair. I'm giving out a lot of really good information that you're not getting out there on other channels. Show some support for this channel that's giving so much to you. Give a little bit back and buy my book, Crack the Female Code. Better yet, if you can afford it, buy the ultimate package where my book, Crack the Female Code, is in, along with two other books. In internal languaging, it's an intro pack, and then I give you 1 hour on the phone, okay? Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.